Hello and welcome to the All Ambient podcast, where we dig into the creative process, we hear untold stories, and we explore the minds of some brilliant people behind some of the finest ambient music out there. My name is Mike Graff. I make music as Dear Gravity. Really glad to be here with you today. And I say that a lot, but I mean it. And I say it a lot because this isn't on autopilot. Like, I choose these words every time. So there we go. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for making the All Ambient podcast part of your life rhythm. It means a lot. So today, I had a wonderful conversation with Benji Stitt, who makes music as Async Ross. Benji has been doing his thing for a while, and Benji has a very, very unique sound. I absolutely love what he is up to. There is something very fresh and very special about Benji's approach. And Benji explores what it is to not just be working on Async Ross, but also on his multiple other production projects and how he balances all of that out. Just a really well thought guy, and you're not going to want to miss the conversation. Before we get there, make sure you come and join All Ambient on Discord. If you haven't done so already, the link is in the show notes. Discord is free. You do have to create an account, but it is free to use, and we would love to have you join All Ambient on Discord. The family there is growing. There's a lot of people who are connecting, sharing great info with each other. People are there to encourage each other, to learn from each other. And plus, there is a discussion that happens around each podcast episode. If you have questions, if you have feedback for what is happening on today's episode, that is a great place to do it. And if any requests or questions that you have for future podcast episodes, that's also a great place to make that request. So come join All Ambient on Discord. And if you are unable to do so, but you still want to get in touch with us, you can reach us at podcast@all-ambient.com. Also, head over to all-ambient.com. Some great resources that are going to be showing up there in just the next little bit, but it is the hub for what is happening at All Ambient, and we would love for you to be a part of it as we begin to add more and more things over the coming weeks and months. Want you to be there for part of it. But enough of me talking. Let's dig right into my conversation with Benji Stitt of Async Ross. Today is a great day. I'm really glad to be sitting down on the All Ambient podcast with none other than Benji Stitt of Async Ross. Benji, welcome to the All Ambient podcast, man.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
So glad that this is happening.
Me too.
Man, you, from the moment, to be honest, I listen to, and this is probably to a fault and I need to grow a little bit, but I listen, the more that I make music, the less that I have found time to explore or just to listen to stuff, outside of like recommendations and whatnot. So it took me a hot minute to even come to the realization that Async Ross existed. But once that happened, and I believe Ben Tatlow turned me onto it, and started listening through, man, I absolutely adore what you are doing, man. There is such a unique, you have found a way to create something that just sounds very signature in a space where it's beautiful that there's no rules in the ambient genre. In a lot of senses, there's no rules, but even within kind of that no set of rules, you do hear some maybe familiar tropes or some things that sort of speak to what the genre might be in a general sense. And while what you do certainly fits in the ambient cinematic space for sure, Benji, you do a great job of creating a signature sound that definitely leaves your mark on the music that you touch. And I was into it from the get-go and could not be more excited that we are here together getting the chance to chat. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. That means a lot. Hearing these words means a lot. That's honor to be here.
I mean it. Well, let's go back to the very beginning, man. I would love to hear kind of the story of how you got going with music, like what the journey looked like. At what point in life did you start realizing, like, wow, I think music is a thing for me. I think I'm going to be paying attention to this, and then kind of how that evolved. What's the origin story of Benji Stitt?
Origin story. It all started out so. Like, I was always kind of like a little into music. I dabbled with a few things. I played drums when I was like 7 or 8 for like half a year, but then kind of just like lost interest again. And then there was like around 13, 14 when I like picked up the guitar a few times before then, but I was never really like into it, and I was never really like sitting down and practicing. So I would always like put it down again. But then it was like 13, 14 is when I like picked up the guitar again and I was like, oh, there's something here for me. Like I really like this.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I like really got like I got hooked into like just practicing guitar. Came home after school, was practicing guitar, was playing guitar, was listening to a lot of music.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of like my way in, was like through the guitar. After like trying a few things, the guitar is like what really got me.
Very cool.
Back then, it was definitely a lot of like, I feel like it's what you have when you like start on an instrument. You're always like very intrigued by music that features that instrument a lot.
For sure. Yeah.
So
what
like,
were you into?
Yeah. So a lot of the music I was listening to was like guitar music. So it was like, I think some of the first things I loved was Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's kind of what got me like started with it. And then I got more into like some of the blues music, some of like the greats, like Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, like the more heavier stuff.
Yeah.
So it kind of went from there that I moved on, I guess, to like more in guitar music. And then when I got a little older, like 17, 18, I got really into like indie music.
Mm-hmm.
I think through like artists like Bon Iver, Ben Howard, like of that kind of lane of music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think that was also, it was very big back then. So like, being into music was kind of like the gateway into getting all these genres that I liked.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say definitely through the guitar, which is funny because I don't play that much guitar anymore, but I definitely still credit it to like getting me into music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. So then at that point, like when you're around 18 and kind of the indie stuff is sort of finding its way, not just, onto the scene, but into, the stuff that you love. Like, are you beginning to create your own music at that point? Like what's the next little step of that journey where it began to bloom into what's happening today?
Yeah, I think I was kind of the combination of like indie music with the combination of like discovering guitar pedals and loop stations.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then going down that whole rabbit hole of just like having your delays, your reverbs, putting a loop station behind it and just creating like little like worlds in just with your amp and your guitar.
Yeah.
So that was definitely the first step towards like creating my own music. I was playing in bands, but I would say the music that I make now was closer to what I was doing just by myself with like the loop stations.
Yeah.
I wasn't really like using a computer or anything yet back then.
Cool.
I was more still like playing the guitar. I was kind of using the computer for music was still kind of foreign to me at that point. I was still kind of like, I opened a DAW and I looked at it and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I kind of got intimidated and then just went back to just playing guitar.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
But I think that's when also my like interest in like ambient music and instrumental music started. It's just creating little soundscapes, then going on YouTube, finding like other ambient guitar artists and just like looking what they're doing. And I think through that, you just kind of like find more, especially back then with how YouTube was set up, you found like so much more stuff that was similar to what you were looking or what were you watching at.
Right.
So I think that's how I got more into like the whole instrumental ambient neoclassical side of things.
Yep.
I remember, I think one of the first things was like an Olafur Arnalds video that I found that kind of really got me into the like neoclassical side of things, away a little bit from the guitar.
That was going to be my next question, kind of what that little transition. And again, like you said, not that guitar is gone from the conversation, but transitioning more into some of the things that people that might come to ear if they were to think of Async, if they were to think of your work. Yeah, I would love to hear kind of this next little chunk of where that came. And all the firsts are a great place to start. I love that.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I actually went to college to study music.
Cool.
I grew up in Germany and then I moved to the US to go to college to study music and also study guitar. And I was a little bit like I knew I wanted to do something with music, but I wasn't 100% sure yet what it is.
Right.
Like, do I want to be a guitar player? Do I want to go more into like the artist side? Do I want to write songs? Since I also really like the whole indie music side. Yeah. In college, I remember I was like, oh, I should maybe like see how I could use a computer in a more effective way.
Sure.
So I took an Ableton class, and that was like the switch for me, to be honest.
That's it. Yeah.
Because it was literally like you had a loop station, but way more powerful, and you could do anything you want with it, pretty much.
I hear you. Well, and so all the little kind of musical ideas you've been collecting for, and that world growing in your head, to all of a sudden, find a resource where you're like, oh, I can put all of my ideas and all that stuff into this thing, and how it can, kind of bloom and grow, and how you can manipulate it from there. That's really cool. That all of a sudden it's like, oh, it clicked. Oh, we're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that was really like the switch that clicked for me when I started to learn how to use Ableton.
Yeah.
And how to like morph sounds, how to like make my own sounds, how to sample things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was really like the catalyst that got me into the direction that I'm going in now.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. How soon after that moment did you start? Like, were there a couple more steps before, like first releasing as Async kind of came into view, or was that like right out of the gates? You're like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm going. We're gonna do that.
I was still kind of like mixed if I want to go full on the like instrumental side of things. Do I want to produce for others? Do I want to go more towards like the scoring direction, maybe even?
Yeah. Yep.
So I was like, I wasn't really like 100% settled on what exactly to do.
Yeah.
Right after I graduated, I moved out here. I was working.
And you were out in Southern California? Yes.
Yeah, I'm in LA.
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah. I was doing some productions for other people, more like on the indie side. I like did my own EP, which was also towards like indie folk with like a lot of ambient influences in it.
Super cool. Love it.
And then like after I released that, I was just kind of like, okay, what do I want to do and where do I feel the most comfortable? Like, what do I feel the most comfortable producing or like just making? And that's when I guess the Async project or idea got born.
And you've been doing that for how many years now? I mean, it's been...
that was 2019, I think.
Sure.
That I released the first stuff under that name.
Yeah.
I think it started out mostly with like, I just wanted to do like some very like minimalistic, simple piano.
Mm-hmm.
Just piano pieces.
Yeah.
Like with the typical like felted piano style. Like around that time, I started picking up the piano more. Kind of moving from the guitar to the piano.
Right.
And I think that's kind of like what started it. At that time, I was still like doing productions. I was doing a little bit of scoring every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I definitely throughout the years, I just like grew more into like, okay, the Async project is what I really care about the most.
Yeah.
And what like feels the most like myself.
Yeah, it's kind of the center of, not that you have stopped caring about the other things, about the scoring, about the those things, but yeah, I totally hear you. The kind of the center of your artistic language. I think that's just awesome, man. I love it. And honestly, I wouldn't have said it if I didn't mean it, but just like the feel of Async, like there's something really unique and really special happening there. And so keep leaning in, man. Please keep doing it.
I will.
Yeah. So are you still in Ableton? Did you ever transition away from that? Are you in something else now?
I'm still in Ableton.
Yeah.
Still...
Have we talked about this? That's so. I'm an Ableton guy too. I've been there for about maybe just shy of 15 years now. But it's the place, man.
There's something about I've always tried. I remember like when like people were using Pro Tools, I like opened Pro Tools, I opened Logic, but none of them kind of like responded to me the way that Ableton does. Maybe it's also because it's the one I know the best and it's the one I like first started using. There's something about that that's like hard to replace.
I hear you.
But it's also just the way you can do stuff in it.
Absolutely. I was just talking recently, we had TJ Dumpster, Six Missing was on the podcast. He's a dedicated Ableton guy as well. And I was like, wow, there's a couple of us. That's kind of fun. The guild of Ableton ambient creators continues to strengthen itself.
So I definitely think it's always trying to corrupt more people and they're not using Ableton. It's like, maybe try this one.
I tell you, man, honestly, like the ability to manipulate and automate and things like just about any parameter you want to do it as easily as you can inside of Ableton, and to have it like as far as just like the resource demand on your computer, like it feels like it's just one of the best platforms there that you can do exactly what you want to do with your music, and that it's not going to crash your computer when you try to do all the crazy stuff at the same time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Anyway,
also for me personally, it was always the one that was the most intuitive. I don't know why. Yep. But like even like when you just was like, oh, I want to do this, but you didn't really know how, you would just kind of like click around and kind of find how to do it.
Yeah.
or you just do like a quick Google search. I think for some people it might not be, but at least for me, it was always the most that kind of like, oh, I want to do this. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
Which is a great thing. Intuitive. Yes. Man, okay, Benji, remind me, are you making music full-time as Async and with the other projects you have and everything? Or are you...
so it's Async, and then I also do stuff for just like sync and licensing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Love that.
So it's those things.
Under other monikers out there in the world?
Yeah, it's usually most of those are either it's the Async stuff that gets like licensed or synced, or it's directly for clients or for libraries.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. So with all the stuff that you're juggling and trying to get in time in the studio and trying to balance all the other demands of life, this is always a question that fascinates me. But like, do you have kind of an average day or an average week, kind of what the like your life calendar, your life rhythm schedule sort of looks like? Or are you the kind of person who just loves being very free with it all and you work only when inspiration strikes and kind of that sort of thing? Or is it a blend of the two? I'm always fascinated by this one because,
I think it's a little of a blend of the two.
Okay.
I definitely try to put some kind of structure and some kind of like, I try to like sit down every day and just like make something, like work on something.
Good for you.
Obviously there's like not every day, but I mean like on like a weekly basis, I try to like have some kind of like a structure, like a schedule.
Yeah.
Going of like what I want to work on that week, what I want to work on that day. I'm not particularly good at working at several projects on the same day.
Sure.
Usually if I have like a track that I'm working on, I kind of work on that track that day. And then I have a hard time focusing on another one. If I was like, oh, I want to work on something else, I usually have to put that onto a different day.
Yeah.
It's always hard for me to like, because then I get ideas and then it's hard for me to just like switch over to another track or another project I'm working on.
Yep.
Without like being able to like really focus on it again.
Makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, I do try to just sit down every day and make something, even if it's just like a bunch of weird sounds, and then maybe I won't use them for like another year, and then I come back to the fold and was like, oh, what was that? And I was like, oh, that might be useful now.
Yeah. Man,
I feel like there are a lot of ambient people are like the same. Like we like sitting down, just making weird sounds sometimes, and just like drones or like all kinds of stuff, and then we just kind of put it away. And it's like, it might be useful at some point. Who knows?
You never know. Well, and this is something that it's definitely a subject that is not new to the All Ambient podcast, but the idea of having dedicated creating time and like just playing and having fun and finding that can be so valuable, because like when you then get into like I guess I call it the difference between create and curate mode, like where you're starting to, okay, I have like for a licensing project or something, we're like, I need a 2.5 minute cue. It needs to kind of have sort of this dynamic build. I want it to say like, it can be pretty valuable to have sort of some little samples, some little song starters that get the fire going a little bit. And you're like, oh, that's pretty inspiring. And then with that, you're able to curate it and you're able to kind of add to it and get it into the form it's supposed to be in. But 9 times out of 10, if I try to create at the same time that I'm trying to curate some releases, I do not, kind of what you were saying about needing to do one song at a time or whatever. Like I don't think I do a very good job of separating those two tasks, because I start getting very analytical, very judgmental about the things that I'm creating, instead of just letting it go, letting it fly and doing that. So I love affirming that in you and for everyone else who goes that road. That just seems like a really healthy way to do it, for sure.
Yeah, it's also like, as you said, with like, you have like the little song starters, which is always interesting, because sometimes you have something, you start the song with it, but maybe the final product doesn't even involve that part anymore.
Right.
Because it just is like your jumping board to like start something.
Yep.
But after like working on it for a while, you realize, oh, it doesn't really fit anymore, but at least it got you started on something, which is always interesting when that happens.
Yeah.
It's always like
the inspiration, but
yeah, sometimes a little painful to take that out again, because like, oh, it's what got me started. Maybe I should leave it in there, but sometimes it doesn't work anymore.
Man, you're not wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't do it all that often, but at some point it was very similar to one of Brian Eno's oblique strategies. But the idea was like take a sample of like just one of the worst, cheesiest samples that you've ever heard, and you have to turn that into a song. And like that doesn't mean you can't manipulate the heck out of it, or maybe you feed it into a sampler and you would dissect it, and you're able to just warp it and go crazy with it in whatever ways you want to. But just that process of unlocking what might be writer's block and like just kind of jumping right over that thing, be like, you know what, it has to start with something silly, or it has to start with, like, even if that thing doesn't survive to the final end of it, like it got me moving, it got me making some stuff. So that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I think that's where the kind of balance of having days where you just kind of focus on like actually starting and finishing something, and days where you just kind of like have like some playtime where you don't really put any like restraints on yourself. You're just kind of like, okay, I'm just gonna like have some fun today. I'm just gonna have some fun with it. And then you have another day where you're like, okay, today I'm gonna be like, okay, what is actually useful of this? And try to sit down and like actually finish the project.
Absolutely, man. I love that. I am curious, out in LA. So how long have you been out in LA, Benji?
Like 7.5 years now.
Wow. Okay. So you've definitely established yourself.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me, like, do you like just as far as the way that the musician, composer, producer community goes, do you find LA, I've never really been a part of that scene. I can imagine that with all the hustle and bustle of Los Angeles and all the stuff that's being created out there, that there is, definitely one of the things that probably drew you there is that, there's just so many people making so many great things right there, which is just great. Have you found there's really kind of that supportive community and that there are the people that you're able to connect with and that you're able to work with and collab with and partner with and encourage each other and all that? Or, like every once in a while, and this is only, kind of like side stories that I've heard, but there can also be a little bit of that narrative that one might hear of kind of the cutthroat nature of a city like Los Angeles, and where really it seems as though most people who are making things are really just in it for themselves as opposed to like part of the bigger collective. I know that you can't just be one or the other. I know that there's lots of story in the middle, but yeah, tell me just about your Los Angeles composer, musician, producer experience with everyone else around you.
Yeah. That's a good question. Initially, I didn't think LA would be a place I would want to move to or ever like move to. So I wasn't 100% expecting it to like it. It was like at the end of college and like a bunch of people moved out here and they like encouraged me. Maybe I should go as well and I should check it out. And I got here for like a week on my last spring break. And back then what sold me was just like the nature around. I remember coming here and was like, wow, I didn't know this existed. Like you always think about like the big city. It's like, as you said, like a lot of like hustle bustle, like cutthroat. But the 1 week I had before I moved out here was like very, I would say, relaxing for like being in a big city.
Absolutely.
And then after moving here, my experience always been that I think it does depend. It might depend like what circles you're in, what genre you're in, because there's definitely places where stuff might be more competitive, where there is some kind of like, if he's getting it, I'm not getting it. You know what I mean?
Right. That scarcity mentality.
Yeah. But I feel like, especially with like the music we're in, that's what I also like about it a lot. I feel like it's very inclusive, and it's very like you find somebody else who makes similar music. It's like, oh, that's amazing. I would love to work with you. And there's no like, oh, what can I get out of you? It's more like I'm just generally interested in how you do stuff and like in your music and wanting to like create something together. So I can only speak to like that experience and like that genre and that side of things for LA,
which is a beautiful thing. Yeah.
But I never really had any negative experiences. And the one amazing thing here is that you meet all these people from all over the world, and you all kind of like make similar music. You're all interested in the same thing. So I was talking to somebody else about that the other day. Like the amazing thing is, even if I wouldn't live here anymore, I know I have people all over the world I could always like reach out to, or like if I would want to move somewhere else, I know I could always have people come out to me, or I'll go out to them to make stuff together.
Yeah.
Which is like the amazing thing. You form these like relationships and friendships that I hope and I think will like last a very long time.
Absolutely.
And like you will always have like people to like send ideas back and forth with. You always have someone to like bounce something off of. You go like, oh, what do you think of this? Like, do you like this idea? And I think that's something that is very unique to LA, that you have like, for a genre that's like kind of niche, you do have a big population of people that are into the same thing here, which is very nice to see. That it's like, oh, it's not just me. It's like there's a lot of people out there who make who like this kind of stuff and who like to listen to this kind of stuff and like to work on this kind of stuff. So yeah,
I love that.
Like I had a great, ever since I moved here, I had a great experience with LA and with the people here. And then it's just inspiring to see what other people are up to. And you're like, you always meet interesting people. I think that's the one thing I would say. You always meet interesting people, and you might go out and like you talk to somebody and you hear their music, and then you come back inspired because like, oh, this stuff is amazing.
Yeah. No shortage of that. That's I love that, man. Oh, that's just great. It's great. Are those the HS5s on the stands right there? Or are
they're the HS8s.
Oh, the 8s. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. I have to say, most of the time I just work in headphones, to be completely honest.
Oh, for real? Oh, good for you.
I'm a headphone person. That's the one thing I need to invest some like research and money into, maybe some like speakers and treating my room.
Yeah, you know, man, like yes and no. Like I hear you on the value of those things, but also like, you know, just like you said, you know, with a lot of mixing in headphones, like a lot of people listen in headphones these days, right? Like, or headphones or earbuds, AirPods, whatever. Like it seems as though you may as well mix in the same space that a lot of people are going to be consuming your stuff. Yeah.
That's true. I don't know, for me, it was always like, somehow I liked the feeling of like listening to stuff in headphones.
Yeah.
And then obviously being like in apartments, sometimes you can't play it as loud.
This is true. Yep.
So you always have to be like, okay, how loud can I play my speakers? Can I even use my speakers at all? The space I'm in right now, I'm very lucky. I could technically like play it pretty loud, but I just got so adjusted on just using headphones for most of it.
Yeah.
That it's kind of hard to switch to something else.
It's all good. I love it. It's awesome. Okay. You've been super gracious, Benji. Thanks for your time so much.
Of course.
But I do have a few lightning round questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Ready for some? Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Lightning round being just answer first thing off the top of your head. You don't have to think about it very much. We're just going to do it.
Okay. I'll try my best.
Cool. Benji, what are you geeking out about right now? Whether it's in the music world, gear, maybe some hobby outside of the music world, but what are you geeking out about right now?
I just it's a very simple thing. Finally got a MIDI thing for my Juno. So being able to sequence the Juno, honestly, I've been having a blast with it the last couple of days.
So cool. What Juno do you have?
The 60.
Yeah, baby. That's great. I got a 6 right over here.
Nice.
out of shot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. What MIDI device did you get for it?
I just got the Kenton box, the DCB connector thing. I was like putting it off for like, because I had this thing for like a long time, and I was like, oh, maybe I should want to do like a full like mod.
Yeah.
But then I just had to get this one. I was like, I should have done this years ago. It's so much fun to just like create little MIDI sequences and all kinds of stuff, and then just play the filters.
Oh, goodness. That's so cool. That's a great idea. I love that. Man. Oh, I might just have to go do a little something tonight.
It's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I believe it. I love that. Okay, Benji, what is one weird thing about you that most people probably do not know? Or something, one original thing, one thing that is unique about you that most people probably don't know?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. Let me think. One unique thing is probably people would lose. If any mix engineer would see the EQ curves on some of my tracks, they're probably like, "What the hell is happening here?"
Oh, you're pretty surgical when it comes to all that stuff.
It's just like 5 different EQs back to back, just doing all kinds of weird stuff.
Yeah.
I always try to like, if anybody who's like more into mixing comes over, I always try to like hide those tracks so like they don't see the ridiculousness in the EQ curves I've drawn in some of this stuff.
You know what? Hey, you when you arrive at what you arrive at, sometimes you just gotta be willing to stop apologizing for how you got there.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah. Oh, I love that though. That's really funny. That's awesome. Okay. Next lightning round question. What is something, Benji, that you believe, and you can stay as safe on this or go as controversial as you want to. What is something that you believe that very few other people would agree with you on? And again, you can this can be as lighthearted.
I have a very controversial one for people in LA. I'm
here for whatever you want to dig into. By all means.
I'm probably going to get roasted for this one. My controversial take is, personally, not the biggest fan of In-N-Out Burger.
Wow, there you go, man. Okay, well then I have to, because that's really funny you say that. My wife and my kids and I just vacationed out. We were in Phoenix, so not quite LA, but our first stop after getting off the plane and our last stop before getting on the plane coming home were definitely at In-N-Out Burger. So that's really funny. But
I still like them. I still don't. The hype of like 50 car steep drive-through lines. That's the part I don't understand.
You're not wrong. Yeah. Okay. Then what is it more that experience that you're just like, I just don't like the fact that this place is always swarmed, or is there a burger that like nearby that you're like, oh, this is my jam?
If we go about like chains, I'm more of a Shake Shack person to an In-N-Out
there you go
person.
Sure.
I do like the thin patty smash burger style a lot.
Yes.
It's mostly I remember, because before I moved here, everybody was like In-N-Out, and they're like, we got there, I don't know how long we waited, like the drive-through line wrapped 2 times around the block.
Yep.
And then I was like, obviously at that point, you're just kind of like, this has to be the greatest thing I've ever put in my mouth ever. And then it's just kind of like, it's a burger. It's still good. It's still good. But
it becomes a case of like overpromise and underdeliver kind of thing. Yeah. Well, that's funny. There you go, man. Well, I will not hold that against you, and I do not think you will be crucified in Los Angeles. But I hear you.
We'll see.
I hear you. Yeah, man. Well, Benji, you are up to so many great things. And again, like I love just, all the work that you are currently, releasing. Thank you. Also, I haven't even said this out loud yet. You were so kind to be part of an album that I put out just at the end of last year. You did a great rework from my early years Reimagine project. And I could not be happier with how that landed.
Oh, thank you. That was a lot of fun. I love working on that one.
It was so great, and all the fun stuff that's ahead. I know you and I are even talking about some of that, but I know you have so many great things in the pipeline and everything that's coming. When you have, let's say there was somebody who they're looking at your catalog, they're listening to everything you're doing, they're hearing your story, and they're just like, man, I would love to follow in Benji's footsteps. What is one piece of advice that you would give that person who's just inspired by your story, inspired by what you've been putting out, and wants to follow what you're doing?
I mean, there's always like the very, I guess, cliche thing to say. It's like where you just do whatever you want to do. Like, obviously get inspired by stuff, but like just even touching upon like the weird EQ curves, just like if it sounds good to you, if you're happy with it, just keep going that direction. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like just keep making the sounds or whatever you like, even if it might be like controversial or people are like, oh, that's not how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
If it works for you, it works.
Absolutely, man.
If you're happy with the result, if you like what you're making, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah. And that's funny because it feels like kind of a common thread on just some of the stuff I've been processing through personally, and just the things talking with other folks recently, the idea of like if music, and don't get me wrong, like sometimes we got to hit deadlines, or sometimes you got, there's a certain, like a project for someone where there might need to be a tweak that they specifically want, that you're like, well, I mean, I would have done it differently, but whatever, like it's your project, like here you go. Like I totally understand those scenarios. But if the entirety or the majority of what you do as a musician is just equal to like churning out widgets, if you will, just like, okay, well, here's some more music, and I made some music because I'm capable of making music, as opposed to like the things that you really care about and the things that are just exciting and inspiring you as an artist and as a musician. And when you throw on all your crazy EQs and you're like, yeah, that's the sound. I mean, that's the goal, right? And then, you know, all the success, you know, that you want to, you hope and you pray that follows that. But that is the goal, to be, let's create stuff, like you just said, you know, that's meaningful to you, stuff that you care about, stuff that you love, and then figure out the journey from there. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, just I feel like everybody has some kind of sounds or something in their head.
Yeah,
and you just kind of try to realize whatever you have in your head to like try to, okay, how do I actually make this now? Like, what is the best approach? And sometimes there isn't like a correct approach to like making a certain sound in a certain song, a certain track. It's just like you just have to figure out what you want to do and then like mess around with some things.
Absolutely, man. Well, you keep running after those sounds that are floating around your head, and you're like, oh, I think I got to run after that, because honestly, what you're doing as Async and beyond that is just nothing short of inspiring, nothing short of moving, and yeah, man, it's all just great. So keep up.
Thank you so much.
Great work, Benji, for sure, man.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for setting aside time to
of course
join the All Ambient family.
Of course,
you're part of it. Just so glad that you're on the podcast. Thanks for.
Me too. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks again for joining us on the All Ambient podcast. This is about as shameless of a plug as it gets, but it really does help for those of you who are watching to give us a rating if you're on any podcast platform like Apple or Spotify or anything like that. On YouTube, we would love a follow, a subscribe, a like, all that fun stuff. And please leave a comment, a review, whatever is applicable to the right place that you're finding this. It really does go a long way. You don't have to make anything up by any means, but if there's some value in this podcast for you, we'd love to hear about it. We, as the All Ambient family, would love to meet you. I know it does my heart good, as well as everybody else who's involved at All Ambient. So please do so. Come back and join us next week. We got another great episode coming your way. And until then, here's hoping that this music and the hearts behind it make your day and your life that much better. Thanks.